As the Traveler and Paimon journey throughout Teyvat, new stories, adventures, characters, and a lot of excitement comes with it. However, without a way for players to revisit the story in-game, it might be hard to keep track of everything. Therefore, we wanted to recap the prologue, starting with Act 1, the Outlander who caught the wind. So new players, returning players, and even existing players that want to witness the story again all have the chance to do so via Johnity Recaps. To ensure we cover everything, the video might be pretty lengthy, so grab some snacks, some drinks, and by the end of this, you'll be a true Teyvat historian. Now without any further ado, let's jump right into it.
So, what you're trying to say is that you fell here from another world? But when you wanted to leave and go on to the next world, your path was blocked by some unknown god?
Outlanders, your journey ends here. Who are you? The sustainer of heavenly principles. The arrogation of mankind ends now.
Give my sister back!
After the battle with the unknown god, the Traveler lost their sibling and had their power sealed, preventing them from journeying across different worlds. From here, the Traveler states they don't know how many years it's been and had been alone that entire time until they met Paimon 2 months ago when they fished her out of a pond. After being rescued, Paimon decides to join the Traveler in their quest to find their sibling, promising to be a great travel guide as they set out across this mysterious world. Their first stop is a statue of the Seven, many of which are scattered across the land and show the Seven's protection over the world, who are gods. Among them is the one that controls the wind, who Paimon is unsure whether it's the same god the Traveler mentioned, but recommends meeting them first anyway. It's said that poetry and language flow like the wind, making Paimon believe there could be someone who has heard of the Traveler's sibling. Once the Traveler interacts with the Statue of the Seven, they receive the power of Animo, which is the wind. Paimon explains that the people in this world can't obtain these powers as easily as the Traveler just did, and it's because they're not from this world. She states that if they keep heading west, they'll reach Mondstadt, the city of freedom, which worships the god of Animo. Informed of their destination, they continue towards Mondstadt, when suddenly they spot a huge dragon fly by and proceed with caution.
Look at that!
Don't be afraid. It's all right now. I'm back.
Is he talking to a dragon?
Who's there?
close call, they notice some kind of crimson crystal laying around and investigate it. Paimon's never seen a stone like this before, but knows that it's dangerous and decides to put it away before proceeding to Mondstadt.
Hey, you! Stop right there!
The person introduces herself as Amber, outrider for the Knights of Favonius, and, identifying them as not citizens of Mondstadt, questions them. After the traveler introduced themselves in Paimon, Amber recommends heading inside the city as soon as possible since there's been sightings of a large dragon, and decides to escort them personally to protect them, but also because she doesn't fully trust them yet. The traveler takes offense to this, and Amber quickly apologizes.
I give you my apologies, strange yet respectable travelers. That sounded so fake. Do you have something against the type of language usage prescribed by the Knights of Favonius Handbook?
Telling Amber their goal of finding the traveler's sibling, she says she'll help them put up missing person posters around the city after finishing her task. Clearing out a hilichurl camp, Paimon wonders what they're doing so close to the city, and Amber agrees, stating it's more normal for them to be further out in the wilderness. She mentions due to the recent appearances of the dragon, Storm Terror, that their orchards were destroyed and the local market was affected as well. When the storms hit, there tends to be a few injuries, making the Knights of Favonius tied up with defending the area. Now that this area is safer from clearing out the camp, they continue towards Mondstadt. Upon arriving at the destination, Amber officially welcomes the Traveler and Paimon to Mondstadt, as Paimon notices that the people weren't looking too cheerful. Amber responded by saying it's due to Storm Terror and that everything will turn out fine, so long as Jean is with them, the acting Grandmaster of the Knights of Favonius, and the Defender of Mondstadt. Before taking the Traveler and Paimon to the Knights of Favonius headquarters, Amber has a present for the Traveler, as thanks for helping her clear out the hilichurl camp. Paimon feels left out and asks why she didn't get a reward, and Amber informs her that it's because the reward is useless for Paimon. However, makes up for it by offering to treat her to a traditional Mondstadt delicacy, Sticky Honey Rose, which Paimon quickly becomes excited for, as Amber tells them to follow her to the city's high ground. Finding a suitable location, Amber presents her present, turning out to be a wind glider, which is used by outriders along with the people of Mondstadt to ride the wind. Paimon sees that Amber is really excited about wind gliders, who responds by saying it's because the wind is the heart and soul of Mondstadt, as they decide to give it a whirl. Following Amber's instructions, the traveler proceeds cautiously to the destination before.
The sky.
Being swept away and remaining airborne, Paimon asks how the traveler is able to stay afloat with just a wind glider, as a mysterious voice says they're preventing the traveler's fall with the power of 1,000 winds, while they face off against Storm Terror.
Are you hurt?
You've actually got the power to go up against the dragon. Are you a new ally? Or a new storm?
Recognizing that Storm Terror is attacking Mondstadt itself, Amber becomes concerned as the mysterious man asks her if she's forgetting to introduce them. She quickly introduces the man as Kaya, the cavalry captain for the Knights of Favonius, and the Traveler and Paimon as travelers from afar. Kaya becomes a little skeptical, but Amber fills him in on the situation. Having a better understanding, he welcomes them to Mondstadt despite it not being the best of times and understands the hardships of being separated from family. He doesn't fully understand why they're looking for the animal god, but recognizes that everyone has their secrets and decides not to press for more. On behalf of the Knights of Favonius, Kaya thanks the Traveler for their assistance against Storm Terror and passes on an invitation from the acting Grandmaster herself, Jean, to formally meet them at the headquarters as they head there immediately.
Jean, what's the hurry? I thought we agreed to meet them here.
There have been sightings of Storm Terror outside the city. Once we meet, we must...
Relax. I'll lend a hand when the time comes.
Jean, I've brought them.
Jean welcomes both the Traveler and Paimon to Mondstadt, who then introduces herself along with Lisa, the resident librarian. Lisa explains that Storm Terror has caused a ruckus within the region since its recent resurgence, causing Mondstadt's elemental sphere and ley lines to go haywire. Jean adds that if it wasn't for this interference, the Knights of Favonius would be able to provide more assistance than just with missing person posters, and asks them to stay in Mondstadt while they help with looking for the Traveler's sibling. The Traveler and Paimon decide to help out, as Jean mentions that Lisa was able to reveal the sources of Storm Terror's power with her detection magic, which are located in the abandoned Four Winds temples. Jean states their objective is to deal with 3 of the 4 temples and trusts everyone knows why. Paimon confesses that she doesn't, but the Traveler says it's probably a local thing and they'll ask later. With time against them, they decide to take the initiative and act before the situation escalates as they head to the Four Winds temples. The Traveler and Paimon arrive at one of the 4 temples and meet up with Amber, who explains that the temples have been left to waste for years, and even the people of Mondstadt almost never come to visit. She warns them that there's a chance a monster nest or hill trail camp is inside, and adds that even Storm Terror gave up on its own temple. The Traveler becomes confused as Amber finds it hard to accept, but states that Storm Terror was once one of the 4 winds. Feeling that something was off with the wind here, the Traveler and Paimon team up with Amber as they head inside the Temple of the Falcon. After traversing the domain and defeating some hill churls, they come across Dragon's Breath, which is one of the sources of Storm Terror's power as they proceed to destroy it. Amber is tired but feels relieved that they are able to help Jean now, who in the past contributed a lot to defending the city and keeping it safe. Now that Storm Terror has directly attacked the city itself, Amber quotes a phrase,
The winds change. So too should our tactics.
which is something Lisa likes to say. She then tells the Traveler that if they like to learn more about Mondstadt's history, they should ask Lisa, and defends herself by saying it's not because she doesn't know their history, it's just common for a librarian to be more knowledgeable than an outsider. Right? As they head to the next temple of the 4 winds. Arriving at the next temple, Kaya awaits the Traveler, who smells something and suspects there might be slimes, hill churls, and monsters inside. He mentions that the Temple of the Wolf has been disturbed and that no one makes offerings to the 4 winds anymore, yet they never vanished, as they head in to clear out the temple. Going through the domain, Kaya notices that the Traveler doesn't have a vision and wonders how they're able to channel elemental energy as Paimon brushes off the question. Like before, they reach the end and spot another Dragon's Breath, proceeding to destroy it. Kaya becomes surprised at how well the Traveler fought and states that the heroic deeds to save Mondstadt will be remembered. He instructs the Traveler to meet him back at the headquarters when they have time, and also mentions there's a tavern if the Traveler prefers that, before leaving the domain.
Quite rewarding, no?
We've seized another temple from Storm Terror's grasp.
I can take care of the rest here. You go take care of other things while I'm at it.
See you later then, bye-bye.
There's no way Hilly Turtles organized an ambush like this themselves. Not with their limited mental capacity. Thus, you were behind this.
「 You're behind this.
「 Thus, you were behind this.
「 Thus you were behind this. 」 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 "Thus 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 you were behind this. 」
Knights of Favonius, always so inefficient.
Agree to disagree, but your involvement in this just made things a whole lot more interesting.
For the last temple, we meet up with Lisa as the traveler wonders about the role of a librarian, since domains are usually dangerous, who mentions they take care of things that don't require brawn, or brains, as Paimon wonders what's left before heading inside the Temple of the Lion. While exploring the domain, they ask Lisa about the gem she carries, who thinks they're kidding, but says it's a vision, which is used by the Chosen to draw on elemental powers, and in some way, a magical lightning rod. Since they haven't seen one before, Lisa questions where they're from, even asking if they're Hilltra with some reasonable intelligence. Arriving at the end of the domain once more, they spot the last dragon's breath and break it. Lisa then mentions the Dragon of the East, Lion of the South, Wolf of the North, and Falcon of the West are the four winds of Mondstadt, who are affiliated with Barbados, the god of Anemo. She then reveals that the real name of Stormterror, the Dragon of the East, is Dvalin, though most of Mondstadt seems to have forgotten due to the Stormterror situation, which is why Dvalin can only channel 3 of the 4 winds' power because it's been consuming itself from the beginning. Lisa suspects it could be due to hatred, specifically hatred for Mondstadt. Paimon then asks why one of the 4 winds would hate the city it was supposed to protect, to which Lisa couldn't answer aloud and instead gives them a century-old storybook as they exit the domain. For those that are interested in reading the storybook for themselves, you can find it in the archive under books called Breeze Amidst the Forest Volume 2. In summary, it goes in depth about the 4 winds of Mondstadt and the battle that Dvalin had with Durin, the corrupted dragon. After clearing out the temples, Paimon is optimistic that all the ley flow and elemental line stuff will return to normal and decide to head back to meet up with the Knights. And that concludes Act 1 of the Prologue, the Outlander who caught the wind. This act focused mainly on introducing the traveler's quest to find their sibling, who got separated from them by an unknown god, as they eventually met a trusty companion in Paimon. Together, they decide to head to Mondstadt, the City of Freedom, which worships the god of Anemo, Barbados. Unfortunately, they arrived at a bad time, as the city was currently facing a crisis caused by a dragon they called Stormterror, whose real identity is one of the 4 winds of Mondstadt, the Dragon of the East, Dvalin. In hopes of resolving the issue and potentially finding an audience with Barbados, the Traveler and Paimon team up with the Knights of Favonius, who are the defenders of Mondstadt. Lisa, the resident librarian, used her detection magic to find the source of Stormterror's power, which was located in 3 of the 4 winds temples. Under the instruction of Jean, the acting Grand Master, the Traveler, Amber, Kaya, and Lisa were dispatched to clear out the temples. After a successful mission, the rampant winds in Mondstadt disappeared and the city returned to a moment of peace. This act was shorter than most that we'll soon see because it was basically a tutorial for the players, introducing them to the different game mechanics. The story will definitely pick up though, so stay tuned for Prologue Act 2 for Tomorrow Without Tears. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to smash that like and subscribe button. Don't forget also to turn on that notification bell so you don't miss on any newly released videos. I've been Johnity. Until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next one.